Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And today I want to talk about a new topic that is cynicism. And this is something that I have been discussing with some of my amazing humanitarians, both clients and who are not my clients, but still amazing friends and humanitarian souls, I guess. We were discussing about this being cynical and how that shows up in what it is and all of this. And then I thought there is this also sense of, oh, I'm becoming cynical and I don't want to. There are other sense I hear that I am now so cynical that I can't really do my work or I don't want to do my work or this type of questions come up. And I wanted to address this topic for anyone who is overusing this tool of cynicism and how not to do that if we feel like that's not what we want to do, right? So I hope, yes, my sound's fine. Before I wanted to talk about cynicism is I wanted to also talk to you about why we need to work on cynicism because I think some of us are not convinced that that's what we should do or that's something that we can do or want to do because for some people cynicism seems to have this um, association of, well, it's a good thing to do. Or another one is like it's a realistic thing to do. We are realistic, so therefore, obviously, we're cynical, kind of thing. Or some people use it, cynicism as a way to entertain people around, so it feels fun to do it, right? So that's why I see that there are like certain people who are a bit proponent of it, or they don't mind having it, and whenever I meet people like that, I also think of maybe we're not often aware of why we could be working on it because we're not really looking at the consequences of our cynicism for many of us. And that's why I wanted to bring to your attention to why it's worth working on it, even if you feel like it's something that you don't really know what to do or how to do it, or it's just how it is. I want to invite you to listen, hear me, my reasoning of why I have decided to work on it. I continue working on it. And I want to give you my, I think, 7 or 8 reasons why I think I want to work on it. And I want to invite you to also come up with your own um, reasoning why you want to work on reducing or removing cynicism, whichever the way you want to look at it, because of the consequences that you see in your life, right? Which I will be talking about. So, cynicism is our state of mind where we don't believe other people's goodness or other people's genuineness, other people's words that they're saying. We basically distrust or we disbelieve, right? We don't believe them in what they're saying, in their integrity, what they're saying, how they're saying it, what they're doing. And therefore, we probably also don't believe in what we're doing either, right? Because we often tend to project this to other people. So that's why cynicism is for me really the state of mind or being, even where we don't believe things that we once used to believe, or we don't really um, have the type of aspirations, the type of drive that we want to go for, simply because we feel like we can't really believe any of these things because we have seen it doesn't work, or we have seen that it's not the way things are, whatever it is. And therefore, we just choose to go to the cynical side of things instead of going into the believing things, right? So, the reason why I have decided to work on this for some time now and I continue working on it is the first reason that I want to share with you is because it's a number one, I think, tool that kills my joy or my mood or excitement to be working on something. I don't know about you, but this has been my experience is that the more cynical I am, the more I kill my own joy of working on things. I kill my own belief, I kill my own drive to be doing things. And therefore I have this feeling of creating helplessness or creating this powerlessness, and then keep making these snarky comments or like passive aggressive comments, which then the second reason is I don't really like being that person either, right? And I think this is the second reason, the biggest reason why I want to work on cynical side of me, that I don't want to be a cynical person, is because that's not how I want to be, who I want to be in the world. Even though it comes very easy to me, and even though I could be doing this all day long, but I just feel like that's not how I want to show up in my life or doing the things. And the reason why that is because the third reason then is that um, whenever I'm cynical, so I'm in disbelief, right? And therefore, if I'm in disbelief and I still continue doing this work, or if I still continue working with those people that I don't really believe, then it feels like a bit hypocritical, or it feels not in integrity, right? To say that I'm saying that that doesn't make sense, that's not what I want to do, or that's not really how it should be done, and then I just do it because I tell myself that I can't do any other thing, or I have no other choice, and therefore it just makes me be in this space of being cynical and doing the things that I don't want to do, but keep doing it, and it just makes me feel like hypocritical or hypocrite, or it makes me feel like not in integrity. And I don't like any of those feelings either. So that would be I think the third major reasons why I want to work on cynicism, and I don't want to be a cynical person, right? The fourth one is, I'm looking at my notes so that I can keep track of things, is that um, I always see the limitations and things when I'm cynical, right? As if I have this glasses of cynicism on, and then I just see everything from the lens of it won't work, from the lens of this is not how these things should be, from the lens of why everyone is so excited and they shouldn't be, and they will be just disappointed, and then I will just be like limiting everything or constraining everything. That again is not really useful for myself, but I keep doing it because I think of our um previous experiences, and then we just like automatically take previous experiences and then lay it on top of the future experience or the current experience. And I don't want my past experience keep influencing my current or future experience either, especially the one that I didn't like in the past. Then why would I bring that thing that I didn't like to the current or future experience, right? That's the other reason. Another reason is, I guess, whenever I am showing up in my work environment with other people, we always model for each other in for better or worse, right? So meaning that my behavior will be a model for someone to be doing things or not to be doing things. And I would like to be the model of the person who really is committed and believes in what she does, and also believes in other people who are also doing their part of achieving that goal. I really want to be modeling that person. And if I feel like I'm always making this cynical remarks and just bashing the things, or and maybe sometimes saying things that actually did happen, but keep focusing on that and keep saying that's why things don't work in the future, then I feel like I'm not really modeling this for other people or for myself, even, right? Because I don't want to be that person. And then I'm also unduly influencing other people's experiences and telling them, oh, don't get your hopes up, or don't even try to believe in things, or like crush your own beliefs of the cause or what you want to do, because all of this doesn't make sense, kind of thing. And I don't want to be that person. And the other reason that's very high on my list in terms of why being cynical is so damaging for me, the way I have experienced it, is that if I'm cynical and I just don't want to like believe anyone, I don't really care about, and I just do things because I have to do it, then I need to force myself to be doing this even further because my brain is saying, if you believe it doesn't make sense, why you keep doing it, right? So I need to force myself even more to be doing things that my brain doesn't want to do. And that costs so much energy, so much willpower, which eventually will just get tired. But I don't want to be in that situation where I'm forcing myself to be doing things I don't want because of my own disbelief of how things don't work or how things are not the way that I think they should be. And then the other reason is I think that we don't really then have the energy or the excitement or the drive to be fighting for the justices, for the social justice, for equality, for other causes that we want to. We're not really doing that because a lot of our energy is going to criticizing, going to how all of this doesn't make sense or whatever the things we keep telling ourselves, right? So therefore, our brain space, energy space is all filled with those things, the cynical things, while we actually want to be doing things that we believe can work and we don't really spend so much energy, or we could have spent even more energy, but we're taking it up to other spaces. And the other reason I think that I don't want to be in this cynical space and I'm working on, I continue working on this is because and then essentially I feel like this is a victim mindset space where um I keep telling myself that I'm powerless, basically. The more cynical I get in terms of, oh, this doesn't work, this should all be like gone and whatever, then I'm just perpetuating my own um, helplessness or powerlessness. And I then keep telling myself I can't do anything else. And therefore, I just put myself in this victim mindset, right? Which I do not want to be. So I think I have given you so many reasons as to why at least my reasons are for working on cynicism and doing something about it instead of just keep perpetuating this identity of, oh, I'm the cynical person. Obviously, I have to be because I work in this environment or whatever it is, right? So these are the reasons why I do not want to be a cynical person, or at least I try to work on certain things so that I don't become the person that I actually don't like. Now, when we ask why we are cynical, and I think we have many of us know the answers to that, right? Essentially, I think it all boils down to us being so disappointed so many times and have never processed or haven't processed enough or avoided processing, and therefore it all led us to disbelief. And we don't really want to believe it again because our brain is saying, well, if you do that, you will get hurt again, right? And whenever we know that this will lead to danger, in this case, it's hurt feeling, then obviously we keep avoiding believing in things, avoiding believing other people doing things or their own intentions, our intention. We avoid believing in those because we feel like as soon as we believe in things and we get our hopes up and we do the thing and it doesn't work, then we'll be disappointed. And obviously, we want to prevent ourselves from being disappointed. So, therefore, the solution that I have tried so many times and continue doing it is that solution I think is getting disappointed as big, as small, as much as possible. I'm still wanting to do that after having processed that disappointment because I think that's the only tool I find that is more effective than us keep avoiding feeling disappointment and keep putting ourselves in the corner of, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that, I shouldn't be doing that because of that. And then to a point we just feel like we don't feel anything or we feel so much cynical that we just want to spend time bashing certain things or too much generalizing certain things or criticizing certain things that we just don't get to doing the actual work we want to do the way that we could have if we have processed our disappointment and then we got to again continue working on the things that we want to. So now that we have the reason why to work on cynicism, right? Why or what it is doing to us, what are the consequences of it? And if we are convinced that we actually want to work on cynicism and reduce it and remove it or whatever your decision is, and then we realize also why we're doing it, now we need to get to what to do about it, right? And that's what really matters, because even though we may make reflections as to why that is and how we want to work on it and all of this, but if we don't take the action, then obviously it will not work, right? It will all become like a theoretical framework. So therefore, I want to offer the first thing that is the answer I find, like I said before, to a lot of the cynical propensities or cynical side of things or going to cynical side of things is because we're not processing emotions, or we haven't processed enough, or we're just feeling like we shouldn't be getting disappointed. Excuse me. So whenever we feel like we shouldn't be disappointed, we shouldn't be frustrated, or we shouldn't be experiencing this, then automatically our brain starts um, protecting us by next time saying, well, last time when you believed so much, last time when you put your heart into this, heart and soul and sweat into this, and it didn't work out and it didn't pay out the way that it should, then should you be again doing the same thing, right? And our brains are very smart structures and instrument, and it's asking the right question. But the answer that we often give ourselves is we say, oh, then I should be careful, therefore I shouldn't believe, right? The answer we may give ourselves is that because we need to be careful and not to get disappointed, let's not put our heart and soul into it again, because it will await another disappointment. But the problem of that approach is that it's always getting us to avoid disappointment and therefore creating more problems or more consequences, like the cynical side of things, that then we don't like even further. And then we just feel like we're in the corner, right? We're like, okay, I did this thing, it didn't work, that thing, it didn't work, and therefore it won't work. And then we just confirm our own cynical side of things and say, you see, it won't work. Or we decide the solution is I want to process through all the disappointment, allow and be there and hear it, and then learn from that disappointment so that next time I do differently. But the heart and soul and all in, going all in and believing in things and doing things, I will always keep it. Maybe I will take different actions, but the way I will approach my work, the way I will do my difference, the way I will work with my colleagues, with the employer, whoever it is that you're choosing to do, you can always choose it from this place of going all in, believing, and wanting to make the difference, whichever the way. And that's always available to us. And I really want you to think about, what if it was possible to be processing your emotions and then going all in again and doing the things and trying to new ways, different ways to get to the goal, because you know that that might like be so much easier and better to be saving your energy and time and spending it all on what you're working on, instead of being in this space of disbelief where you don't really want to hear others, you don't want to really hear yourself in terms of what's going on, or in terms of why are we being cynical, and then really looking at, do we want to be cynical or not, and then like removing all of this, right? That's, I think, something that we don't really spend time on, because we just feel like I have tried all the things, or I have gone all the way and then I did all the things. It didn't work. I got hurt. Therefore, I'm now actually doing the opposite, which is doing only the thing that is required, or doing things even though I don't really believe in, and then we put ourselves in even more problematic space. Because then we create this disbelief. We don't really believe in what we're doing. We don't really believe why we're doing it. We tell ourselves that the reason why we're doing it is because it's we can't really do anything else, and then we just feel like it's not a nice place to be in, and we don't want to be in that place. And so therefore I'm suggesting not to create that space that you don't want to be in, but rather learn to process those emotions and then going all in again and doing different things in case the one that you tried didn't work, and refresh your commitment, refresh your belief in what you're doing. And then the other thing that I wanted to get you curious and clear as to what exactly is it that you're not believing, and what do you want to do to believe it, or what do you want to do to not go to the cynical side of things, even if you decide not to believe it. Right? For instance, whenever we find ourselves cynical, I think some of the indicators of how we are, or how we are cynical, and if we can't recognize it, some of the ways you can recognize it is that you don't really have interest in that thing, right? So, for instance, your colleague is talking about something, and like enthusiastic, optimistic, wanting to do, and let's go fight for this cause and all of these things, and you're like, that's not true. I don't think you believe in it. I don't think anyone believes here, but we're just saying it because that's we're supposed to, kind of things, right? That would be like a cynical way of showing your disbelief to the other person, and which also means that you don't believe it yourself either. And therefore, when you recognize that's what's happening, then get curious as to what specific things you don't believe in, and how can you not let that thing influence all the other parts of your work, and how can you keep all the other parts of your work with drive, with all the other things that gets you doing it, instead of, because this thing doesn't work, then everything else doesn't work. And then we tend to generalize when it comes to being cynical. We tend to generalize. We tend to feel like we know better by now, and we create these dynamics where we may say other people that why do you really believe in this, because it won't work anyway, right? And then it creates some destructive work environments that we don't want to be in, right? So that's why, think about it, how you can specifically look at where you're not believing and where you are actually believing in the cause, in the mission, or in what you do, in how you approach things, and then keep working on those things anyway, even though you see that there are other places where you don't really believe in things, right? Because think about it, the more you create this disbelief and the more you create this cynical energy, the more you rob your own energy for doing other things that you want to do. And therefore, you just create more of the reasons why not to do things. And that will then become so much difficult to do things, because if you're choosing to stay there, then you'll be doing that work for some time, right? So therefore, how can you do this in a way that you are not resisting your own mind, or you're not basically you're not putting your own brakes in front of you, and you're not creating your own obstacle to yourself, as if to say that you're becoming your own competitor, or as if to say you're becoming your own enemy, and then keep saying that, well, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this, in this like battle, which again does not serve you. At least this is how I have experienced it, and I continue working on this. I feel like there's a lot more work to be done, but I just wanted to bring your awareness to how we can work on our cynical sides if we notice we keep having them, or we keep noticing that we have them. Why we need to work on them, right? Why it's necessary that we need to work on them, and find your own reasons. Why are you doing it? You probably know. And I have given you one of the biggest reasons, and then what to do in case you decide that that's not how you want to be, this is not who you are. You are actually meant to be um, believing in the things you do, believing in other people and their powers and making things happen or moving things further. And the more we believe, the more strength we create, the more powerfulness we create to be doing and making changes. And we don't really get tired of it simply because we feel like we're doing something that makes sense. We're doing something that, even if it doesn't work immediately, even if it doesn't work in the way that we think, but still, I rather want to be doing this than something else. And I think that gives us so much more purpose, so much more energy, so much more um, invigoration to be doing the thing and serving more people along the way, serving more people who are really needing our assistance in that regard, right? We have the choice of being that person, because I think many of my humanitarians that I meet, I think we all have that like genuine, loving, cause seeking souls. And I really want us to nurture and develop and like thrive it more, rather than keep bringing all the reasons why we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, or this shouldn't be happening, this shouldn't be happening. And then it's just not a constructive or the useful place to be, especially if we're not in the end getting to anywhere with this. So, my dears, I invite you to coach with me on this or any topic of your choosing. I would love to coach you to get you to the place where you really feel like this is the person I want to be and this is the person I am now. So, have a beautiful weekend. I'll speak to you very soon.